Go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody. If everybody could go ahead and please stand for the prayer and the pledge of allegiance of the flag.
Heavenly Father, as always, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time together. Father, bless Talbot County. Bless our state, bless our nation, and bless our world, Father. We need you now more than ever with everything going on in this world. We ask for a hedge of protection over us. We ask for your guidance, your wisdom, your love. We appreciate you for all that you are and all that you do. In Jesus' most precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I appreciate everybody coming tonight. Let's go ahead and get started on the agenda. The agenda is before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda, Council? Okay. Hearing none, the chair moves that the agenda be accepted as unanimous consent. Next on the agenda is the minutes, and we've had time to take a look at that, of September 10th before us. The minutes seem to be okay. Any deletions, additions, or corrections to that? Nope. Okay. Hearing none, the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. Next is the disbursements of October 1st and October 8th. We've had a chance to take a look at them. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to disbursements? Okay. Hearing none, the chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. All right. First up tonight is a proclamation. Madam Secretary, will you go ahead and read it, please?
Proclamation, Mobile Integrated Health, MIH Week, October 6th through 12th, 2024. Whereas the goal of mobile integrated health providers is to aid in the prevention of overutilization of emergency departments and emergency medical service agencies for non-emergency conditions, to improve the quality of life of patients, and to reduce disparities in healthcare access. And whereas Mobile Integrated Health relies on its established partnerships within the emergency medical services community, as well as multidisciplinary teams of healthcare providers across the emergency and non-emergency care continuum, to help communities reduce readmissions and assist patients in properly managing their healthcare issues. And whereas the Talbot County MIH team, comprised of paramedics, EMTs, and registered nurses, offers the following services free of charge to our community: home visits, home safety and health needs assessments, fall prevention assistance, guidance and connections to local healthcare resources, and medication review. And whereas it is proper and timely to bring recognition to the value and accomplishments of mobile integrated healthcare and the dedicated personnel who work tirelessly to improve the delivery of care in our county. Now therefore, we, the members of the County Council of Talbot County, do hereby declare October 6th through the 12th, 2024 as MIH Week in Talbot County, and encourage citizens to become informed on mobile integrated healthcare for themselves or their loved ones, and call upon the healthcare professionals in our community to join the growing network of professionals serving this need. Given under our hands in the Great Seal of Talbot County this 8th day of October in the year of our Lord, 2024.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Okay, Council, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion second to approve the proclamation as presented. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milkey?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes? Aye.
Okay, is somebody here to, is it Tim and Rachel? Yeah, come on up. All right, somebody's got to be the speaker now. Okay, so you guys fight about who's going to be the speaker.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
So thank you, Council. Thank you for the proclamation.
Yeah.
Again, my name is Rachel Cox. I'm the MIH coordinator for Talbot County Department of Emergency Services, and I have Chief Ken Top next to me.
Okay.
I have Carrie Oddie. She's our senior care coordinator and also my teammate in this effort. She works for the health department. She's a registered nurse. And then I have Catherine with me. She's one of our paramedics that's on the team, and I have a couple others that wasn't able to make it tonight that are working with me in these efforts. They're paramedics and EMTs. And I also have Dr. Fahmy as well. He's the new medical director for the Talbot County Health Department, is with us as well and joining in on these efforts. So the proclamation is definitely an important part of the healthcare system here in Talbot County. If you're not familiar with mobile integrated health, it's just about patient advocacy overall and case management for patients who have complicated healthcare diagnoses or need a little extra assistance in their home, whether they're living alone or if they have families or caretakers helping provide for them, giving them the access to resources and some health disparities. We highlight a lot of those. So we work hand in hand with the health department and with a lot of other entities throughout the county. Habitat for Humanity, for example, University of Maryland, the food pantries, anything that we assign that we feel that the patient needs to help improve their overall health outcome, we work together. So I'm appreciative of the county council's proclamation for this week to highlight the importances of mobile integrated health.
That's great.
And I'd like to add that we
Yeah.
couldn't do any of this without partnering with the Talbot County Health Department.
Yes.
They've been instrumental in
Yeah.
working with us to work achieving grants
Yeah.
and to really, really, really reach deep into the community. So
That's great.
I applaud them and thank them for working with us.
That's
on this.
great. I appreciate that. So council, proceed.
Yeah, so thank you
Yep.
all for coming in tonight, and certainly want to thank the partnership and everyone working together, because this is certainly important for the community, and certainly those that, have disparities. So thank you for all that you do and for shining the light on this very important week.
Okay.
And just to add to that, given the demographic of Talbot County, your services are very much needed and appreciated, not only by us, but also by our constituents and citizens. So thanks for all you do, and we're happy to honor you with this.
Thanks.
This strikes me as one of the smartest programs in government today. You give people a little bit of preventive care, and it prevents them from using much more expensive emergency care.
Yes.
It's compassionate, and it makes economic sense. There are winners all around here. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'll echo everything that was just said. But I mean, I love doing these things. I mean, you guys always bring bring the crowd. It's like I said, just when you think you've learned all that you all do, then you hear about stuff like this. I mean, I've known about it, but I'm glad we can get the word out so folks can realize all that you all do. It's not just what everyone would think of it, just responding to an emergency. It's the stuff you guys do for our community, our CERT program, things like that, and emergency response. I mean, you guys are awesome. Keep being rock stars. Thank you.
Yep. And just to add to my colleagues, really appreciate everything. This community is blessed to have people like you to do this and share the care and all that stuff. So we really appreciate all you do. We really do. And the young lady in the back, would you come on up? Yes, you're hiding back there. I seen you back there.
She wanted to take
I seen you. I just wanted you to tell everybody who you were, and you're stepping in the seat for a few months. Yes. Now, if you don't mind talking on the, yes. Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm Corinne Ireland, and I'm the interim health officer for Talbot County Health Department.
Yep.
I've been with Talbot County Health Department for a year as the deputy health officer, so I will do my best to keep this great team supported.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it. I just wanted everybody to know that face, and we love your accent. That's for sure. We love it. So, okay, thank you. All right, so guys, come on up. We got a proclamation for you. Thank you. Sure, sure. No problem. Appreciate you. Thank you, appreciate you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
Okay, moving on. Next on the agenda is an update at Talbot County Food Pantry and day for event on the 19th of October. Okay. Good evening. How are you?
Very good.
Good. Good.
All right, I have some stuff for you.
Okay.
And I have food pantries, is most up-to-date times and all that good stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Okay.
good
Welcome.
evening, council members.
Good evening.
All right, and thank you for having me here. First off, I should tell everybody this is National Hunger Awareness Month, so couldn't be better timing to be here.
Could you introduce yourself too, please?
Oh, I'm going
Yeah,
to do that.
Okay.
I'm Catherine Poe, and I'm the chair of the Talbot County Hunger Coalition, which is 9 food pantries and 3 meal providers. It's hard to
Great.
believe this little county needs those, but they do, as you will see. Tonight, I'm here in sort of like a double role here.
Sure.
And, but I'm representing also the people and the organizations that will be hosting the 4th annual Resource Day. And as you heard, it's to be held Saturday, October 19th at Easton Elementary School from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. And Resource Day is basically a one-stop shopping, and I put it in quotes like that. It's for our neighbors in need, offering them, and get this, we're going to have 45 vendors there, nonprofit vendors. And they're going to be offering everything. I won't go through all 45, but things like free dental screening, free heating assistance, health screening, free children's books, immigration help, free home repair, free legal aid, and help for veterans. And that's just some of the that we're going to be doing. We will also have special playtime for the children, free groceries, as well as personal items and paper goods. Plus, everyone, vendors, volunteers, people coming through our doors, will all get a free lunch supplied by the school system, Sodexo, and Eat Sprout, who once again for the 4th year will be supplying free lunches for everybody. We're also going to have Spanish interpreters, very important as the community has changed and grown in this respect. And so we're going to have them both student volunteers speaking Spanish as well as adults. And there's a reason, okay, that such a day is urgently needed. And I'm going to show you some statistics, all right? And I think you'll probably be maybe surprised or maybe not, or horrified is the word I would use anyway. First of all the statistics from the public schools are not in yet. So what I have is just a snapshot right now of what I do know. But I can tell you currently, as the numbers are coming in, 70% of the students at the middle school are on free and reduced meals. That means they get a free lunch and a free breakfast, all right, and that's 70%. At Easton Elementary, it's 75% as of today, could change. By the way, 75% means 800 students, all right? So when you see percentages, it doesn't sound, but when you see a number like 800, all right? By the way, the number of people on SNAP, which is food stamps, all right, it's actually dropped in the last year. It's currently 3,738, and that's the latest ones, that numbers that I have. And that's a good sign that has dropped. Yet, we know 14% of our residents are food insecure. That's a polite word for they go hungry, all right? That means 1 out of 7 Talbot residents are going hungry. I should point out, you'll see where I get my statistics, and not just smoke coming out of my head. They're in italics, so you can double check if you need to. Each week, 9 food pantries and the 3 meal providers, we serve over 4,200 people a week. Again, I can tell you the number has dropped in the last year, which is also a good sign. The unemployment rate, the last I have seen, and that was as August 2024, is 3.3%, which is very good. And that's what's very interesting here. When you hear people say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, why don't you get a job? You can see that people are doing just that. They have jobs. We are almost full unemployment, full employment. The national average is 4.1. We are better than the national average. But these people are the working poor. And when they come through our food pantries, it's because they can't make ends meet. And it's why they need resource day. Now, let me put this all in perspective. Most of these jobs are paying minimum wage, $15 an hour. That sounds pretty darn good if you're a teenager, all right? As of January 2024, it went up to $15 in the state of Maryland, all right? Let's tell you what that means. If you, all right, work 52 weeks a year, all right, you don't take, and only 5 days a week, we're not doing 7, 5 days a week, but you never take a vacation, you never take sick leave, that comes to 2,080 hours in a year. That means $31,000 is your salary. All right? Now look at the next statistic. To live in Easton, it costs $39,831. Now you see why people are coming through the food pantries, are reaching out, trying to get help any way they can. This is why. In a family of 4, to live in Easton, it's $83,505. This is why families are hurting. And I know you're making me depressed. And keep in mind that 30% of our residents are seniors in this county, 30%. 1 out of 4 seniors depend on Social Security for their income. Again, what kind of check do they get? It just went up. The average, all right, Social Security check is $22,300. And remember what it costs to live in Easton, $40,000. That's why those of us working at the food pantry see seniors coming through. And I can tell you a story that when we started the food pantry at Brooklets during the pandemic, Brooklets Senior Center, I should say, I remember a woman driving through, and as we're loading the groceries into her car, she started banging on her steering wheel and said, "I never expected to be doing this during my golden years." And you know what? She was angry, and she was right. She shouldn't have to come to a food pantry in her golden years. And it was heartbreaking. By the way, she is still coming to our food pantry because she still needs it. This is why a day like Resource Day is needed, to help our seniors and the working poor. Many people do not even realize the kind of help that is out there that could help them, all right? And it's like life-changing. When I say we're going to have 45 nonprofits, you probably didn't even know that there were that number, all right? These people just need the access and learn how to navigate the system, and that's the trick. How do you navigate the system? Resource Day gives them that opportunity. Once again, spearheaded by the Neighborhood Service Center and the Talbot Family Network, the Talbot County Hunger Coalition, Choptank Electric, Easton Utilities, the Talbot Public Schools, and the Department of Social Services. That's our steering committee. And I would like to point out that Nancy Andrew from Talbot Family Network is here. Cardina Robinson from Neighborhood Service Center is here with us tonight as well. We have been working since late spring to put this day on, and I invite all of you to join us on October 19th. Just drop by, all right? You can even grab a free lunch, all right? And you'll see Resource Day in action and what is happening. I just came from training. Every volunteer has to be trained. Just came from a training, and some of the people who had done it last year were explaining to the new people what an important day it is and why it's a very different day to volunteer for than any other day they have ever done before. All right. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stepp?
I'd just start with just thank you for doing this. Like I said, everything you said is spot on. We get to see the great, we get to see the good, we get to see the bad, we get to see the ugly. And, you know, this is one of those ones where it's just, like you said, you talk about the lady who just sitting there banging on the steering wheel.
I know, it's a hidden problem, and
Yeah.
people just have no idea, because when we look around, we see a different Talbot than another Talbot that anybody who works in the food pantries see, right?
I mean, that explains it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that explains it all. So thank you for doing the work that you're doing. It's crucial. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
I'll add my thanks to that, not only for the work that you do through these food pantries, but also the work that you are doing through this resource day to get the word out about these resources. So it's so impactful.
Yes, 300 people came through last year. So it impacted a lot of people and their families.
I'm so impressed. All the work that has gone into analyzing and defining the problem, coming up with a solution, and then putting it out to the community for availability of what they can receive assistance for is just overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job.
And you know, it's just amazing, the people we have in this county that are working and addressing this every day. It's amazing.
Yes.
Great.
So this is just fabulous. Very, very informative, and thank you for all
Welcome.
you do and everyone else who's working on the pantries.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Certainly, we've had the conversation for a long time about this issue. I was able to attend last year and saw the number of people that were in and out for Resource Day. But recently, I had to work with an 84-year-old woman to help her get assistance through the health department and other agencies and to navigate that
There's that
system.
word, navigate.
Oh my gosh, I think it took me 2 days to really figure out, you know, what she could have and what would be beneficial to her. But ultimately, when I had to call around for places if she had to go into a facility, $7,000 a month
Yeah, I
for
know.
a facility.
Yeah. That's why so many seniors try to just live at home.
At home. And that's where she is with nursing care. But I could not believe $7,000 a month. So thank you for all of the partners that are in the room today, all of the information that you provide to the community, you know, for providing resources like this. But it is an amazing day. I'm so glad that we got it back up and running again, because I do believe that this is, you know, a necessity in the community. It's needed for our elderly population. I won't be able to join you this time because that's my birthday.
Oh, okay.
So I won't be there that Saturday, but I'll be sending prayers and love to you, and I hope you have.
Bring you a cake.
I can bring the cake, yeah. Have a successful Resource Day.
Thank you
and
very much.
certainly will share with as many people that I can. So thank you.
Yes, and please share the pantry or, you know, all the
Yep.
listings. You may know
Yes.
people, get it
Right.
out there as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Like my colleague said, thanks a lot for all you do. Really, this community relies on you every day.
Not just me, we have a huge
Well,
number of people that are
not
doing this.
just you, but you know what you've created and all your partners and everybody that's here that's helping. And it takes a team to be able to do all this. And thanks so much for those statistics and stuff. It is a little shocking, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I hope, if Keisha can't make it, maybe one of the others can
Sure.
represent the
Absolutely.
county council that day.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the public hearing, but we're a little early, so Jess, you want to go ahead and start on the yeah, exactly, yep. The county manager report, that'd be great.
Thank you, Council.
Yep.
This evening, we'll start with board and committee appointments. I am requesting the appointment for Kathleen Dormady and Megan Pinder for the Commission on Aging.
Motion to approve that request.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion seconded. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Great, and next I'm pleased to introduce Nicole Whitmer, if she'd like to come up with Brennan Tarleton, our planning officer. We're so thrilled to have Nicole with us. She is our new alcoholic beverages inspector, and Brennan will introduce her and give a little bit of information about what an alcoholic beverages inspector does.
Good evening, Council.
evening.
Brennan Tarleton, Director of Planning and Zoning. With me tonight is Nicole Whitmer. We're
Welcome.
very excited and very happy to have her on board in our Code Compliance Division of our office. She'll also be serving a dual role with us of Code Compliance as well as our Alcoholic Beverages Inspector. A little bit about that position. They do conduct regular routine inspections of the facilities that we have within the county that do serve alcoholic beverages, as well as conducting routine certifications and TIPPE certification courses for individuals who are serving alcoholic beverages within the county at those establishments. So we're excited to have her on board. She's excited to get started. We brought her here tonight so that she could be introduced to you all, and obviously as part of that process is her actual official appointment to be able to conduct that business within the county as well. So I'll turn it over to her in case she wants to say a few words to you all as well.
I'm just excited to be here and start, so thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, we appreciate you being here, that's for sure. So welcome and everything. Any other?
No,
Yeah,
just welcome.
Yep,
welcome.
just welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. And just be careful out there now, okay? Be careful out there now, okay? All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
So council, we are asking, in the code, it does call for a formal appointment
Oh,
of
it
the
does.
council to
Okay.
Officially appoint the alcoholic
Okay.
beverages inspector, so that would
Okay.
be a motion and a second.
I'll start with the motion then.
Second.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion and a second to go ahead and approve. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
again.
appreciate it.
If anybody were to need the alcoholic beverages inspector, you would just contact our planning and zoning office at 410-770-8030.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Ray, if you want to come up, this is a request from the Department of Public Works with a recommendation to award bid number 2207, engineering services for the comp water and sewer plant update, and a request for amendment number 1. And I'll turn it over to Ray.
Sure thing. Council, I think at our last meeting, there was additional information that was requested. So what I did is I went back and basically took the scope of work that we had put out within the RFP, and then ultimately listed the hours that were associated with phase 1 as well as phase 2, and then also what was shown in the amendment number 1, how that worked out in task number 7. So it showed that as it relates to the additional work number 3, that those hours have not been expended at this point in time. That would be used when we try to wrap up the report of the review. So and if you needed those hours, I mean, I can grab those real quick. It was for item number 3, it was we had 5 hours with the principals and then 8 hours for senior engineer, and then 5 hours for design engineer, and then 8 hours for admin. Typically what we're going to be using the Brow for at this point in time is really assisting us with the PDF version or the Adobe version and linking documents and whatnot. We in my office have been working very hard to get the maps all up to date, as well as all of the sections ready to roll based upon the adoption or the approval by MDE of Resolution 338 and 347 and 348. So at this point in time, we did again go over on the contract, and we're requesting at this point, I guess, from our standpoint for the contract. And I actually had to keep on having that one here, but we're looking at, I believe it is $36,654 as a contract amendment for amendment number 1.
I'll move approval
Is there a second?
for,
Point
I'm
point
sorry.
of order.
Yeah.
I thought that we had decided to request an itemization of not only the hours, but what the hours were for. That is a detail.
I'm sorry. Okay. You want to articulate?
Yeah, okay. The question is, we need more details as to what was actually the services that were provided for those hours. And I could be a real stickler here, because having been an attorney, we would do timesheets and we'd say we did this and it took this long. And so we think that under the circumstances, that there should be a more detailed disclosure to us about what was actually done and what it applied to.
I think tried to bring this back to you, I guess, as it related to the scope of work. I will say, I mean, going through this morning, we pretty much had well over almost 90 meetings with ROW Incorporated. I believe we had 4 joint sessions with the Planning Commission, the Public Works Advisory Board. I mean, that's going to take a lot of time on our part.
We understand that, but we want to know what the meetings were, when they were, how long they were.
Okay. I mean, that's going to take some time to get that to you, and it'll have to be, we can give you a chronological order of those meetings, and each hour that was specifically associated with that meeting.
Well, let me ask you something. I think let me help you with this, Ray, if it works for you. So Ralph gave you times that okay. I think what Ms. Melke is asking for, can we see the backup to the time?
Itemized.
Itemized, yes.
I would have to go back and ask them for all that information at this point in time. So.
Yeah, I think at this stage, I think council's a little bit more comfortable with that.
All right.
Okay, if we could have that for the next meeting, and I'm sure it's going to be fine, and we just move on.
We'll do. All right.
So if we could do that, it'd be great.
No problem.
Great. Council will go ahead and work with Ray and Rao to get
Yes.
that itemized
Yeah.
invoices for you.
Yep.
So while Ray is here, our next request is to award bid 2410, which is the St. Michael's Library Expansion and Renovation in St. Michael's,
Okay.
to the lowest and responsive bidder, Keller Brothers, Inc., of Salisbury, Maryland, at a cost of $5,295,750. A total of 7 bids were received for this project, with 3 of the bids found to be non-responsive. There are sufficient funds in the capital budget for this project, and Dana Newman is here with Ray to discuss the bids that were received.
Again, after, I guess, the council's request, we did go back, we reviewed the procurement policy. Unfortunately, as it relates to the 2 bidders that were in-county, for an in-county preference, were greater than the 2% that's allowed by the procurement policy. Unfortunately, those 2 bidders were also found to be non-responsive. We asked Disbursements to go back and review that, and they came back and still found them being non-responsive because of the lack of qualification information that was needed for the review of the proposals.
Gotcha.
So at this point, actually the low bidder, we've come back, and Keller Brothers Incorporated out of Salisbury, we found, I think, is the lowest, most responsible bidder at $5,196,900. However, we are looking at the award of ad alternates 1 and 2, and that brings, I think, the total for that would be, what did I have here? That is going to be $5,295,750 to Keller Brothers. And I think at the same time, I'll let Dan talk. She did talk to some of the firms and whatnot via email as far as their recommendation, or I guess work related to Keller.
So in addition, we did either
introduce
receive
yourself?
emails.
Could
Sorry,
you introduce
I'm
yourself?
Dana Newman, the library director for Talbot County Free Library. We did receive a total of 7 references, some email, 2 that I discussed on the phone. They're all good references. One, in fact, came in this morning, was very glowing. I didn't see anything negative in those references. All were saying that they were timely, that they stayed within the schedules, that they were responsive, and when they had subcontractors, that they were very good with communication and held their subcontractors to the schedule. I just didn't find anything really negative in those. So I think Keller has a very good reputation with those that they've worked with.
Sounds great.
Well, I want to thank you and Ray for the additional due diligence that you've done on this in bringing this back to council, and I think that you've allayed the concerns that that we expressed, and frankly that you shared with us last time around. So thank you very much for going to that, and
Yep.
that we can go into this with confidence.
Mhm.
And with that, I'll offer a motion to approve bid 2410.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. Madam Secretary, we have a motion and a second to accept 2410. Can you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Step?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very
thank
much,
guys.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great, and then I'd like to call forward Emily Gilmer, our Director of Parks and Recreation, and Brian Harris, our Facilities Manager, as they're coming up. This is a request to award work to J.J. Clow and Sons, Inc., to award additional parking lot lights at the community center, primarily near the ice hockey entrance. And I'll
Okay.
turn it over to Emily and Brian and thank them for being here.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
hi.
Hey.
So in the hockey entrance parking lot.
So could you introduce yourself, please? That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm Emily Gomer. I am the Parks and Recreation Director.
There you go. There you go.
So the hockey entrance light parking lot is extremely dark. There's only two light posts right now, and of course in main hockey season, it's getting dark at 5 o'clock, and it gets very dark in that parking area. So for safety and security reasons, we are looking to add some parking lights in that parking lot to hopefully light up that area some. You have anything you want to add? Or?
Along with that, they're going to add another conduit for future reference for pickleball for security or lighting over there. So
good.
with this bid, it's two different phases to it.
Okay.
Which that too, the pickleball, with that new pickleball courts that have been installed down there, that is extremely dark as well. So hopefully these lights will help light up that area too, just to, prevent vandalism, prevent, any security issues that we may have.
Okay.
These would not be anywhere near lighting up the pickleball courts, nothing like that. These would just be in the parking lot.
Okay, that's great. All right, council, any questions?
I was not clear about, it's not the pickleball courts that are getting the lighting, it's the parking for them?
Yeah.
Because I just wondered whether people were planning
Yeah.
at night that
This is
required this.
just for the parking lot. We are getting it run to the pickleball court, so for future, like we're getting an electric run there, and then if we want to put a security light up there at a later time, and then eventually if we wanted to actually light the whole pickleball court, we could do that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand.
Yeah. But this is just for,
Lighting.
this is just for the 5 additional lights in the parking lot there. And then we're also replacing some of the already existing lights that are there,
Okay.
just the heads that have kind of reached their lifetime.
And then I just have one question.
Yeah, sure.
So I think in your capital project, there was a request for the parking lot repavement. Is that being done soon, or a timeline for that?
Yes, yeah, that has been pushed to April due to the paving company. They are not able to get around to it right now, but they will be coming out and filling some of our potholes that we have in the parking lot in the near future, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I haven't gotten a date for that quite yet, but unfortunately the whole repaving project has been pushed to April.
Thank you.
And they will be honoring the same price, but they, as Emily indicated, they will be repairing some of the
Okay.
potholes, and they're planning on doing that work in April.
Okay, good, good. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Pete, you had something to say?
No.
Okay, sorry. Just a few things. Thank you for repairing those potholes. They are quite massive. So number one, thank you for that. Also, thank you for the starting that work out on the snack shack. You are going to make a lot of youth organizations happy for redoing that. So thanks also to our roads guys who are doing that. 2 last things. All congratulations. So Emily, congratulations on your promotion, and congratulations on being a mom again.
Thank you.
So welcome back.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly. So, okay, we're good?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll move that we award the contract for lighting to J.J. Clow as recommended.
Okay. Is there a second?
So seconded.
Okay, we've got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Step?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Thanks, and then lastly, I just want to announce that the county offices are going to be closed on Monday for Columbus Day.
Okay.
And I know some of the council will talk about Airport Day that's happening on Saturday.
Okay, sounds great.
Great.
Okay, good job. Okay, so sort of back on track here with the agenda. So we'll start off with the public hearing. So, Madam Secretary, would you go ahead and read Resolution 362, please?
Resolution number 362, a resolution to amend the Talbot County Comprehensive Water and Sewer Plan to reclassify and remap certain real properties located at 7044 BOZMAN-NEAVITT Road, BOZMAN, Maryland, shown on tax map 39 as parcel 37, and 6990 BOZMAN-NEAVITT Road, BOZMAN, Maryland, shown on tax map 39 as parcel 111, from unprogrammed to S1 immediate priority status.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. So, okay, so at this time, do you want to discuss it?
Sure thing.
Yeah,
Again,
okay.
Ray Clark, County
Yep.
Engineer.
Mhm.
On Resolution 362, just to give the council some information, the Public Works Advisory Board met on September 24th and reviewed Resolution 362 and basically passed a motion recommending the County Council adopt Resolution 362 via a 4-0 vote. In addition to that, I think another question was raised about the failing septic systems. I believe it is, well, it's actually 7044 BOZMAN-NEAVITT Road was found to have a failing septic system by the Office of Environmental Health. However, the property at 6990 BOZMAN-NEAVITT Road actually had a private entity basically note that there were problems with the septic system. We received an email from Brendan Green yesterday noting that basically his office had not found Resolution 6990 failing in the definition of environmental health, but that he was supportive of our efforts to extend sewer to that area because of the high groundwater table, poor draining soils and whatnot, so.
Okay. All right.
And the Planning Commission reviewed Resolution 362 at their October 2nd meeting. At that meeting, they found Resolution 362 consistent with the Talbot County Comprehensive Plan, as well as the 7 relevant standards in accordance with Environmental Article 9-506 of the Maryland Annotated Code.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I'll go ahead and open it, the public hearing, and give individuals 3 minutes. And if you're representing an organization, I'll give you 5. So I'll open it up right now, and anybody here to my left here that wants to come on up and talk about Resolution 362, come on up. Okay, anybody here to my right, want to come on up, talk about it? 362. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this point and open it up for discussion in council. Any discussion?
Well, we have unanimous recommendations from both our Public Works Advisory Board and our Planning Commission on this. I know that in the BOZMAN-NEAVITT corridor, when the proposal for extension of water sewer down that corridor was done, it was done with it was mapped with a lot of thought given. Why these were excluded at that time is not entirely clear to me. It's clear that they are existing developed lots, that they are not subdividable, that we're not going to see an increase in developable lots as a consequence of extending water sewer, which of course we're simply seeking to avoid that unintended consequence when extending water and sewer, but at the same time have this opportunity to address septic systems along sensitive waterways on properties with notoriously poorly drained soils. So I'm prepared to support this.
Okay.
And the property owner wants it.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I think you can just call the You
Just
could just
call
call
the
the
vote?
roll.
Okay.
It's eligible for a vote.
Okay. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stipp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Next, Madam Secretary, is Resolution 363.
Resolution number 363, a resolution concerning the proposed annexation by the town of Easton, Maryland, the town of certain real property owned by Corrigan and TRIPPE Ventures LLC, located on the east side of Ocean Gateway, US Route 50, consisting of 17.329 plus or minus acres of land. Said property being more fully shown on tax map 34, grid 24, parcel 128, the property, finding that the property's proposed rezoning from Talbot County's Town Conservation, TC zoning, to the town's R10A residential, R10A zoning upon its annexation will result in substantially different uses or substantially higher density exceeding 50% than could be granted for proposed development under the county's TC zoning, and waiving the 5-year hold in accordance with section 4-416 of the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Good evening, Council. Last time we spoke at the introduction of this resolution, just to...
Let everybody know who you are.
Sorry.
Yep.
Brennan Tarleton, Director of Planning and Zoning.
Yep.
For Talbot County, for the record.
Thank you, Brennan.
I believe last time when we spoke at the introduction of this, you all had several questions about the 5-year zoning hold, what that would stand to do, and why it was here before you. At that time, we discussed a little bit about the density change from the county's density and the town conservation zoning, which the property is currently subject to, and the town's R10A zoning, which the property will be subject to after the 5-year zoning hold, or if you choose to hold it after the 5-year period. Within that request, we talked a little bit about designated growth areas. I know I briefly touched on that in the last meeting, and there were some questions from you all related to designated growth areas, kind of what they are, what they serve to do, and the purposes of growth areas and boundaries within the county and the municipal boundaries. So I've prepared a PowerPoint slide here to just briefly go over some of those topics with you all. This is an exhibit from our comprehensive plan. Map 2A here is a detailed land use plan map specifically of the town of Easton. You can see here the gray area of this map in its total form is the actual municipal boundary for the town. The subject property that we're talking about tonight is actually located down in this area here, which you can see is indicated as blue. Referring back to the legend, that's actually designated growth residential, which is what I had mentioned in our past meeting when we discussed this request. You can see there's several other designated growth areas. We have a designated growth commercial and a designated growth industrial as well, highlighted in purple and red. And you can see those areas that are designated for growth are considered priority growth areas within the town's comprehensive plan. And you can see they're just on the fringes, if not already located or annexed within the town's boundaries. And those are priority areas that were identified through both the town and the county's comprehensive planning process of future annexation and future development of properties. So most of those properties were seen and acknowledged by the county and the town at the time that they would support some level of growth once annexed into the town. So here we're dealing with a property that's designated as growth residential, and before you, obviously, you have a request for a 5-year zoning hold for an R10A zoning that would allow for a greater density than what the county permits. Moving on from there, this is actually the growth area map that is within the town's comprehensive plan, and you can see these properties down here are the subject of this application. Kind of hard to see because it's a little bit distance view, but they're highlighted in red and shown as boundary refinement areas as they're defined in the town's comprehensive plan, which are considered to be priority 1 areas for annexation. So those would be, theirs in the priority list would be like a tiered list of priority properties for annexation. So this property is designated as a priority 1 annexation property for the town. And then here's just our overall proposed land use development map in the comprehensive plan. This shows the development boundaries around the town of St. Michael's, the town of Oxford, the town of Trappe, and the town of Easton here. I included some exhibits and some policies that I pulled from our comprehensive plan that further support the type of development that the county and the towns want to see in these areas. And I think we talked a little bit about a growth boundary or a growth area that we have indicated as countryside preservation. You can see here in this map and further in the closer map of Easton that our countryside preservation zoning designation is actually this light blue color. And you'll see that is a zoning designation that kind of encompasses the perimeter of the town of Easton, but also encompasses the perimeter of the town of Trappe, as well as some areas of St. Michael's and Oxford. And that's essentially where we've established the growth boundary for where the municipal boundary will grow to at a later point in time, with designated future growth areas highlighted in yellow here, which are zoned currently under the county zoning as town conservation. So these are contemplated growth areas over a period of time from anywhere between 5 and 20 years. And these maps are developed in collaboration with the towns and the counties through the comprehensive planning process for planned growth projects such as this.
Okay. All right. At this time, I'll go ahead.
Just a quick clarifying question. Reconciling these big planning maps with the specific map in the detail map of the subject area, this is, I take it, not going to completely pull back that sort of pincher claw that comes in here. It's going to thin it down a little bit, but it's not really going to. If you go to that, I don't know, the first one maybe.
This one here.
Yeah. There's that kind of blue pincher claw that comes down there, and it's not going to completely nip off the end of that. It's just going to thin it down a little bit. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. There are several improved parcels on the front side of this property. If you look at a detailed map view or the plat view that you were given in the exhibit with the original resolution, that are actually lots that are approved today with single-family residents. Those are not subject to this application today. So essentially what you'll see here when these maps are refined is you'll see a thin area here that will indicate the area that is now annexed and within the municipal boundary, but you'll still have a portion of designated growth area here along Route 50 that will still be located within Talbot County since it's not subject to the annexation request or the 5-year zoning waiver.
And presumably, unless there's a need to extend water and sewer to those properties, those remain unincorporated.
Typically, that's how we see them. Unfortunately, obviously, those individuals would have to have a desire to come into town and present an application to them to do so. Obviously, in instances where you have approved lots that are already developed and seemingly won't be developed any further in the near future, there's obviously a hesitance for annexation for a multitude of different reasons.
If the piece on the other side of Dutchman's Lane that I know that we're not allowed to, or municipalities are not allowed to leave islands of unannexed territory, and this is connected by a piece of spaghetti coming in from the north across Dutchman's Lane.
It would need to be addressed or annexed at some point in order to not present the issue of creating an enclave.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay. At this time, I'll go ahead and open it to the public hearing and give individuals 3 minutes and give organizations 5 minutes. So over here to my left, if anybody wants to come up, talk about Resolution 363, come on up. Here to the right. Yes, sir.
May I speak?
Yes, sir. Come on up. Introduce yourself.
I clearly am in.
Could you tell us?
My name is Phil Riggin. Phil Riggin, Riggin. I have lived in Easton for about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I clearly am at a disadvantage here in terms of understanding a whole variety of things that are transpiring in this room at this point. But I heard Dutchman's Lane and that got my attention. I'm a resident of Easton Club East, and I guess I'm not quite sure. I mean, I was confused by trying to read the map from over there, but I do know, as you know, the city boundaries have annexation has occurred over a bunch of years, and long before I ever got here, to include our community. And as I understand, they may be either have already been expanded through annexation to accommodate a community that's also planned on Dutchman's Lane, adjacent to our community, the Hovnavian community, which housing, I forgot the name of the actual name of the community, some cute name expressing joy and happiness. But so I don't know where this particular project is in relation to all of that. And I do want to say I want to apologize for my ignorance, frankly, because I'm really over my head. This is the first time I've attended a meeting here, but like anyone else, you have to express concern if it's something that's going to affect your right of way. And then, Dutchman's Lane is a 2-lane road that is already feeding a lot of housing.
Right. I appreciate you coming up here and talking through this, but maybe this could help you. So this property is sort of right beside the Royal Farms, and the access is on Route 50.
That's what I thought it was.
It's not. It's not on.
There's no
Dutchman's
issue
Lane.
with the natural water flow through there, which is I think a creek that goes.
Well, it's going to have to go through stormwater management and all that stuff for the town of Easton, and go through that permitting process. But I think that try to help you understand, it's not a Dutchman's Lane. There won't be any traffic on that side. Not for this. If I'm wrong, Zach can tell me that. Zach? Okay, yeah. So all access is on Route 50.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's fine. I will educate myself very quickly over the next few weeks or so, and not only on this, but how you operate generally in
yes, sir. That
in a relationship actually between
that gentleman right there can educate you very well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I look forward to being mentored by somebody.
Well, I guess he could. Hey, Brandon, can you come up here for 1 second, please? So can you kind of point to where we're talking about so this gentleman kind of fully understands?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So this cursor here, this portion of the back side of this property here is essentially what is subject to this application right now. So you can see that doesn't actually have any, if I were to zoom in on this or have a zoomed in view of this, it doesn't have any connectivity or interconnectivity to Dutchman's Lane currently today.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I thank you for that. I couldn't even identify Dutchman's Lane on this map. So,
Yeah.
The exhibits provided with the resolution are a little bit clearer as far as the property identification goes, if you'd like to look at a copy of those.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate your time, and I
no
apologize
problem.
for the interference in your schedule here, but I just...
And we appreciate you moving here.
Sorry?
We appreciate you moving here.
Well,
You know? How you like it?
I've always loved Easton. I came from Somerset County, and
Okay.
I go back to playing high school baseball and basketball against Easton High School.
I got you. I got you.
And
Yeah.
So it's a lovely community.
Yep.
We're thrilled with our decision.
Yep.
We're happy to pay taxes.
Okay. We're happy to take it. Okay.
I was hoping you would say that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody here, anybody else want to come on up and talk about 363 resolution? Yeah. Here we got the big guns coming up now. Here we go. How you guys?
Good.
Good.
How are you this evening?
Yep, good. Want to tell everybody? Yep.
Sharon Van Emberg, the town attorney for Easton. And Lynn Thomas, the town planner for Easton. So as you probably guessed, the town council did vote to approve this annexation, so they are supportive of the zoning waiver to apply the R10A zoning to this property. And we're happy to answer any questions you have. But I don't know if there's much else.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I would just point out that the terminology waiver of the zoning has always troubled me a bit. To me, it implies that there's something unusual or nefarious or something going on. It's simply a request to that you don't exercise the right that you have to hold or veto the application of the zoning to the property. In this case, when it's a proposed residential property, there is no scenario where a zoning waiver is not necessary. Even if the property enjoyed the most dense zoning classification in Talbot County and was being proposed for the least dense zoning classification in Easton, it would require a zoning waiver. So that's essentially why we're here. Certainly, as Sharon said, happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay.
And as you pointed out, the representative for the applicant is present and can certainly speak to the specifics of the property better than we can.
Right. Any question?
So I do, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Go ahead.
do you know if there'll ever be a connection on Dutchman's Lane at all? Or will all access strictly be off of Route 50?
I don't know of any plans to connect to Dutchman's, and there's not a easy transitions that would allow that to happen. So I think that would be very challenging for anyone to try to accomplish.
Okay, and I don't know if this is a question for the town or Brennan. In regards to the waiving the 5-year hold, if the annexation is not approved, when is the 5-year hold up?
So the annexation was approved.
Right. I don't know what the effective date of that was.
Well, if the waiver's not, if the waiver's not approved from the county.
So
okay.
Right.
looks like the effective date was August 29th of 2024, so 5 years from then was when the annexation was approved.
And it would set up the rather unusual scenario of the property would still be annexed, it'd still be in the town of Easton, but it would enjoy county zoning. And fortunately, we've never had to deal with what that means, but it would imply to me that either I'm administering county zoning or Brennan is still applying county zoning for a property that's not, that is within the town of Easton.
I think it's likely the former.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
We would, they could still develop
Yeah.
under what would be allowed under the county, but we would be administering that.
Okay.
They would essentially be locked into the uses that are permitted under the county's TC zoning now for a period of 5 years.
I got you.
And the density.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And there's also an affordable housing component to this?
Zach is probably the best one to speak to that, but yes, it is our understanding that, well, and there is a requirement in the zoning that requires a certain portion of it to be affordable housing. I think it's 50% is required to be.
And this may be an impossible question, but the town is now working on attainable housing, which may be a transition from affordable to attainable. And how, if at all, would that apply to this development?
I think that's just a change in terminology, but
I think it's
the
more than a change in
calculation is
terminology.
the calculation of what the Affordable Housing Board has calculated for moderate, low, and very low income has always been the same. I don't think that will change. You may target different sections of that and call it attainable for, say, moderate versus the low, and if you're talking about the potential of the inclusionary zoning,
Yes.
that is different.
Sorry.
And that, depending on when they go to develop, that would likely apply.
And
If it gets passed by the council, which,
Right. That was my question about inclusionary, because I know that's going through the pipeline or the pig and the python. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mine's an extension of that, and Zach, maybe you can help quantify that. Is there, in regards to affordable housing, you mentioned there's 50%, in there. Can you wrap a number around that of what that looks like? I mean, are we talking, these apartments, these townhomes, is these 200,000, 300,000? What's that look like, if I could ask that question?
So, are you guys, you're good. You're good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you could,
Thank you,
introduce
Council.
Yeah.
Zach Smith on behalf of CORRIGAN TRIPPE Ventures LLC, who's the property owner of the property that's subject to the waiver request. And I will answer your question, Mr. Stepp, but if I could just start off by saying the annexation of this property and the application of Town R10A zoning is is consistent with a well thought out and coordinated growth plan. And not just one, with two, you know, both with the Town of Easton's comprehensive plan as well as Talbot County's comprehensive plan. In the Town of Easton, both the Easton Planning Commission and the Easton Town Council found that the annexation and the R10A zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And your planning commission found last week that the granting of the zoning waiver request is consistent with the county's comprehensive plan. That's based in large part on these maps and the text that goes along with it. It's also based on the affordable housing component of the project, and both plans are replete with, you know, acknowledgments of the need for more affordable housing in our community and support for the creation of more affordable opportunities. And so as part of this project, you know, I think a significant factor in the town's decision to approve it is based on a commitment by the developer to provide affordable housing. And that's memorialized in an annexation agreement that says 50% of the housing units built on this property have to be affordable. And in that context, affordable is defined as made available to folks making 60% or less of median household income for our community, and that rents have to be set at no more than 30% of that income level. And so that's required. The developer did indicate to the council that its intent is to build a project that's 100% affordable. That's what they strive to do. The obligation in the annexation agreement is 50%. So at a minimum, it will be that. And I also wanted to say, I think, you know, this was discussed at the town council, but also at the planning commission. You know, this housing is not necessarily housing designed to attract new folks to our community. It's really to serve folks that are already in our community. I think all of the affordable communities in Easton, it's my understanding, they're at capacity. They have wait lists. I was speaking to someone recently with St. Mark's Village, and they commented that their wait list is 6.5 years. And you know, there's a need for folks that live and or work in this community already to find housing. And you know, it's interesting to hear Ms. Poe's comments tonight about the food pantry and some of those things. And I think this dovetails with that, you know, the need to provide housing. And I think that's why both the town's plan and your plan acknowledge that need and provide a support for the creation of more affordable housing with this, which this project will certainly do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Good. Any other questions?
How many homes that?
So under the town's R10A zoning, the maximum density for single family is 3.5 units per acre. Mm-hmm. The property, even though it's 17 plus, some of that is town right of way. So the actual private property is 16.316 acres. So if you do the math on that, it's a maximum of 57 units. Also, the town does permit multifamily housing as a special exception in the R10A with a maximum density of 5 dwelling units per acre. So if you did the math on that, that would be a maximum of 81 units. The property owner does intend to build multifamily rental housing on this property. There is discussion about pursuing a PUD approval, which would allow perhaps additional density, but important for the county's understanding, the waiver that you're been asked to grant is for the R10A zoning. And so if you grant that waiver, then we can move forward under that zoning and build to those maximums. If the property owner submits a PUD that has a denser project, we would have to come back and seek a supplemental waiver from the county. So that would not be permitted without a supplemental waiver, you know, at least not during that 5-year hold period.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Last point, I just want to answer Ms. Hayes' question about Dutchman's.
Yeah.
You know, as Sharon suggested, there's private property between the subject property and Dutchman's Lane. It's actually, there's the Royal Farms, there's another commercial pad site, and then this property is to the south of that. And so the only way to connect to Dutchman's Lane would be to acquire that private property and to build a roadway across. That's not part of the plan, that's not been suggested.
Thank you.
So the access would be off of 3rd Street, which is an existing access onto 50. If you're familiar, it used to be the entrance into the Corbin Parkway community originally, and then that was closed years ago. But the remnant of the road is still there, and that would be the access for this property.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
So that raises a question, Zach. That this was formerly into the Corbin Parkway area, and under the principles of connectivity, does that connection reopen?
It can't, Mr. Lesher, because there was a house built in what used to be the right of way. That roadway used to enter into what's now Siegfried Court, which is the cul-de-sac, and there's a house right at the end of it. There's still a right of way that goes through the Windmill Branch there, and there's the remnants of what used to be a road, and people still cut through there as a pedestrian connection. In discussions with the town suggested that it would like to see a pedestrian connection through that old right-of-way to tie. There's a Town of Easton Park at the other end of that, and so to allow a connection between the town park and this community. So I think there would be a pedestrian connection between the communities, but not a vehicular connection.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I have one more question. I don't know if it's for Zach, though, or the town. But, this is my first rodeo and first waiver, too, so excuse me for all the questions. But is for protocol or in the past, does the annexation typically take place with the town first, and then the waiver request to the county, or vice versa? Does it matter at all?
In my experience, it always happens annexation first, and the town's decision to apply its zoning, and then to seek the waiver from the county.
Okay.
And I can't think of an instance where the county's ever denied a request from a municipality for such a waiver, but that's always the way it happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. You good?
Thank you, Zach. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Sharon. Lynn. Thank you, guys. Okay. Anybody else want to come up and talk about it? Okay. All right. So at this time, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and it's eligible for vote. So, Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Thank you, guys. All right. So, Madam Secretary, next is Bill 1579.
Bill number 1579, a bill to address conditions of approval imposed by the Maryland Critical Area Commission. For Bill number 1544, a bill to amend Chapter 190 of the Talbot County Code, Zoning, Subdivision, and Land Development, Section 190-25.2, Table of Land Uses, 190-29, Commercial Uses, 190-29.7N, and 190-78, Terms Defined, regarding historic inns, as enacted by the County Council of Talbot County, Maryland on July 25th, 2023.
Okay.
Good evening, Council.
Yep.
Brennan Tarleton, Director of Planning and Zoning, for the record. Just to make you aware, the Planning Commission reviewed this at their October 2nd meeting. In their review of Bill 1579, they recommended that the Council approve Bill 1579, noting its consistency with the 2016 Comprehensive Plan, and that vote passed via 3-0.
Okay. Any council discussion at this point? We're good?
No question.
Okay. All right. At this point, I'll go ahead and open it up. Public hearing. Give you 3 minutes for individuals and 5 minutes for organizations. So here on my left, anybody want to come up, talk about 1579? On my right? Okay. All right. Nobody wants to come up, you know? So, okay, so at this time, I'll go ahead and it's eligible for vote on the 22nd.
It's eligible for vote if you bring it to third reader tonight.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's on the 22nd.
Okay.
I would propose, not rushing this, just letting it go through the normal order.
Okay.
And
All right.
scheduling it for a vote on the 22nd.
Okay, so we'll leave the public hearing open, and we'll go ahead and if anybody wants to email or whatever, we'll hold that open until what, that next Friday, or is that what would?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. All right. Okay. Next, we got one more bill, Madam Secretary, 1578.
Bill number 1578, a bill to amend Chapter 56, Electrical Standards of the Talbot County Code for the purposes of requiring electricians to obtain electrical permits from the Office of Permits and Inspections before performing certain electrical work, to delete outdated language, and to increase the amount of fines to be imposed for certain violations of Chapter 56, and to amend Chapter 58, Enforcement of Code, for the purpose of exempting Chapter 56 from the provisions thereof.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Patrick, you want to help us a little bit with this?
Sure.
Yeah.
So this bill primarily came out of discussions with the electrical board about codifying a process for the issuance of electrical permits and to remedy a conflict between chapters 56 and 58 of the chapter 56 is the electrical code and 58 is the general code enforcement. There was some conflicting language. It also addresses the fine amount, but and as we were going through this, me and the electrical board also discussed addressing 56-10C, which provides an exemption for people doing electrical work from the licensing and registration requirements. The licensing is now under the control of the state of Maryland as of 2022. But in response to the concerns that Mr. Lesher raised at our last meeting, discussing this further with the chair of the electrical board, Mr. Kleppinger, who's here this evening as well, we thought, while well-intentioned, it probably made that more complicated. There's already qualifiers in the legislation that say that exemption only applies to the extent the state law would allow it, and also still provides for the inspection and approval requirements where applicable. So, that being said, if the council's inclined to move forward with this, I would recommend that the language deleting section 56-10C be it that the bill be amended so that that language stays in the bill.
Okay. So you want to, council, you want to start with that?
Sure.
Okay.
I will, if we have that language prepared, I will offer to introduce that amendment.
So the specific amendments would be to strike the language, to delete outdated language in the title of the bill, and then section 56-10C would remain intact in the code. So when you see the actual bill, if it's passed, that language wouldn't be shown because it remains in the code.
Okay.
And as I understand it, if you are a licensed electrician, the county inspects your work. With this language remaining, if you're a homeowner and do your own work, the county still inspects your work. The same inspection applies regardless of who does the work.
Right, and this wasn't intended to mean that, for example, somebody who wants to hook up a ceiling fan or do some minor work has to be an electrician or hire an electrician or, you know, get a registration or anything like that. It wasn't intended to overcomplicate the process, so.
Okay.
And perhaps Mr. Kleppinger can speak to that a little bit as well.
Chris Kleppinger, I'm chairman of the Board of Electoral Examiners. I first want to say I was asked for both myself and the vice chair to be here, and Timmy Fluharty is vice chair, and he's taking care of his wife who is with hospice, so I really didn't want to burden him with coming in.
Yeah.
We wouldn't either.
Yeah, good. Thank you. So, okay.
And as far as the carve out for homeowners, that all really came up over a meeting I was at in Baltimore when state legislation came out taking over licensing, when the author of that bill told us that their intention was to not exempt homeowners. But evidently the Attorney General sees that differently in the way the bill was written. So that's how that all came about.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
while we have Mr. Kleppinger here, can you just tell us historically there's a penalty piece in here that the board oversees, the ability to assess a fine for infractions. Can you tell me practically how that works? Does the board actually do that, or is that something that's delegated to staff? Or?
The board does actually do that. And the $100 fine that is in the chapter 56 right now was written back in 1979. And so really changing those fines was just updating that. And I think the amount of the fine that's proposed now being 500 for a first offense and 1,000 for multiple offenses is really a maximum. It's not intended to be what would be handed out to anybody that, you know, did anything wrong.
It's a not to exceed.
500.
500.
Yeah, it's a not to exceed 500.
How was that number determined? I mean, I understand that it's, you know, the $100 is an old fine number, but what bases did you all use to use the 500 and then put that cap of 1,000?
Well, I think the 500 and the 1,000 numbers actually came from code enforcement is the numbers they use.
In the county schedule of fees?
Yes,
For their enforcement?
yes, correct.
Okay, okay.
Who determines the
Okay,
fine amount?
Right.
Who determines who gets assessed the fine and the amount?
The board would.
So it's irrelevant to the code enforcement.
Well,
I'm confused.
well.
If the board, and I'm not being critical, I'm just trying to
No,
understand and have the
I
community
would-
understand.
Our thoughts were that since we would be issuing the fine, we should be consistent with what the other departments of the county would do in the same situation.
Right.
Okay.
Right, that's what I was getting ready to
Okay.
say, yeah. So,
How is it currently? Who, is there a fine currently now?
It's 100.
It's 100, it's not to exceed $100, but Mr. Kleppinger said that amount was set in 1979.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so who initiates the fine now? Is it the board?
yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Then code enforcement enforces it.
Oh, okay. The board and
Right.
code, okay.
Well, one of the things we're addressing is to kind of clear up some confusion, as I mentioned before, is that Chapter 58, which deals with the general code enforcement provisions, lists certain sections of the code that are exempt. It doesn't list Section 56, but then 56 has language regarding enforcement and penalties and appeals that are also in Chapter 58. So this is cleaning that up as well and hopefully removing any inconsistency there between the two.
Right.
Okay, so first we got to sort of vote on the amendment.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So we need it to be introduced and then.
Yeah, so
Introduced.
I've introduced, I don't know if we need
Wait a second.
show of hands for introduction.
Yeah, mm-hmm, yeah.
So to introduce the amendment, introduced by Stepp, Lesher, Callahan, and Milky.
Okay.
Yeah, I certainly support the, that change to preserve that exemption, particularly if it is allowable under the Attorney General's interpretation of state law for this. He's now gone. My father-in-law was one of those in a different jurisdiction in St. Michael's, not in the county, who did his own work, still got inspected. I think that there are others out there who, I would not do this. I would never do this. I leave it to professionals to do my electrical work, but I understand that there are people with that capability, and I support their do-it-yourselfer ability, so long as that work continues to get inspected by the county.
Right.
Okay, so at this point, we've introduced it.
We're going to vote on the amendment next.
Okay, okay. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Haith?
I guess I'm not clear on the amendment, so I'm going to abstain.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, all right, so, okay, at this time, we can go ahead and vote on the bill.
As amended.
As amended. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lusher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Abstain.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, okay, so we got that over with. We did Jeff's stuff. We got that all taken care of. All right, so I guess next on the agenda is, we're coming here to the end, is public comment. Yep, did we have anything out there, do you know? Martha, what are you doing over there? I see you laughing here. You know? Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so you got your partner over there with you, you know? You better buy you dinner tonight, okay? Nobody signed up, okay. Okay, I'll open it up to public comment. Brent, you want to come on up? You good? Good. You've been very good back there. You've been very good, very good. I appreciate you showing up. Okay, all right. So we don't have any public comment tonight. Let's go with, let's start off with council comments over here.
Have a good night, everyone, and enjoy your day off on Monday.
Here we go. Here we go.
I just wanted to remind everyone that Saturday is Easton Airport Day, and it starts at 9:15, and there'll be a ceremony at 10, and there'll be a starflight fighter photo ops and a drone demonstration and a whole lot of fun activities, including finally the rubber chicken drop at 12:30. So I recommend everybody to come by and have a great morning at the airport and support everything that's been done by our airport, because they work very hard and they're doing a lot of good things. So support them, please.
Yep, good, good. Mr. Lusher?
No comment tonight.
Okay, no comment. Mr. Stepp?
All right.
Okay.
Just wanted to offer some thanks to some, members of our community in regards to them supporting the effort for balancing out our election judges here in Talbot County. I also like to thank our sheriff for sending a letter in regards to that as well, and also to our local and national media who actually picked up this story and has started our Board of Elections as well as our elections director to act on moving to a more equal basis here in Talbot County. The Delta, or at our last meeting, was 12, and we are down to 7. So I ask that we keep up that work and to move to follow state law. That is all I have.
Excuse me, I'd like to comment, because that's a misrepresentation of the status of what happened. And we have rulings from the Attorney General that the procedure that was started by Councilman Stepp and others were overruled by the Attorney General, and that there was nothing found, to my knowledge, from what I've read from the Attorney General, that the local Board of Elections had done wrong.
Well, that's interesting. I've actually taken the time to read that letter several times, and nowhere in there it had actually addressed what was the actual concern,
Because
which was following law 10-101, 201, and 202. So
they didn't have authority. And
there was no authority.
What had happened was that, and this is the last thing I'll say, is I'm reminded of Herbert Spencer, that when that was brought up, it was not fully vetted before that was brought up. And that, as Herbert Spencer says, condemnation before investigation is ignorance.
It's not ignorance.
And there was a movement to bring that up before there was a full investigation, and the Attorney General said that our election board is doing just fine, thank you. And that needs to be on the record.
Well, Councilman Milky, I welcomed you at the beginning of your investigation. You mentioned that in the last meeting that you'd like to see an investigation. If you'd like to do that, please initiate one.
But there was an investigation, and that was by the Attorney General.
Who was not present and witnessed it, nor did even recognize anything that was in the letter sent to by our sheriff. So,
okay, we're going to move on.
That's all I have.
That's it. Okay, and I want to say a few things as far as, let's all say a prayer for Florida.
Amen.
Okay, so they got some trouble coming and tragedies coming.
Absolutely.
And we all want to really, you know, our hearts go out to Florida, and hopefully it won't be too bad on them. So everybody say a prayer in the next couple of nights and do what we can, and wish them the best. So, okay, Mr. Lesher?
Thank you very much for that.
The County Council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 22nd, beginning at 6 o'clock p.m. The council will be convening an open session at 3 o'clock p.m. for the annual Consolidated Transportation Plan meeting with representatives from the Maryland Department of Transportation, and then adjourning into closed session as listed on the statement for closing that meeting. On Tuesday, October 15th, beginning at 5 o'clock p.m., the council will be meeting with the Board of Education. The meeting will be held at the Y Oak Room at the Talbot County Community Center and is open to the public. Therefore, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene as noted?
So moved.
And a second.
Okay, we got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Step?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Got it. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate it.